Agnes Gipson. Her name was George, and that was my father, Andrew. And this is a family portrait of the Civil War veterans having a reunion. That was my daddy's home in church in Tucker, Mississippi, and that's where I went to school, and my mother went to school, St. Francis Xavier in Alexandria. We lived with my Aunt Kate, and she was buried in the cemetery in Alexandria. And there's Daniel Rush. He was my great-great-grandfather. There's Teresa Rush, and she's buried in Alexandria. That's a portion of the school in Alexandria, St. Francis. That's the house that we lived in Alec, one of the houses, and my two brothers were born there. That's where we lived at Aunt Kate's, and we lived in the little house in the back, too. And Aunt Kate was very dear to us, and there's another picture of the house on Hope Street where Billy and Butchie were born. And we were on the steps at the cathedral in Alexandria, Louisiana. And that's my mother, some of my daddy's family, my Aunt Tina and Aunt Belle, and that's the house one of my sisters was born in the front room. And my little sister had a very bad burn, and they took care of her there. And that was the school where I attended school when I was in, the whole time I went to school at St. Francis. And that's the rectory and the cathedral where we went to church. And that's another picture of my sister and I at Aunt Kate's grave. And this is a picture of Grandma Beatty's house. And Donald was born in that front room. And this is a boat they had down the bayou. And that's Uncle Dave. He had a hunting camp. He kept all the dogs. And that's Mr. Beatty, Donald's father. And that was down at Grand Isle. And they went to Grand Isle, and that's with the Beatty family, all Donald's brothers, his sisters, and his mother and daddy. And that's Donald when he worked at Exxon. This is going to be Mr. and Miss Beatty and my mother and daddy. That's Mr. and Miss Beatty, Donald's parents, and that's Idris and Andrew Gipson. That's my parents.
I was walking home
and that's
from
Mrs. Beatty,
on a cold winter day.
Grandma Beatty.
Took a shortcut through the
Pictures
woods,
of Grandma Beatty.
and I lost my way.
And this is Donald. Before he died, we went to Milton's, and they gave us a little supper. And that's a picture when Marguerite's children were growing up. And this is at our house over here where we're living now. And that's at Grandma Beatty's 94th birthday in the nursing home.
And I knew in my heart
we all got together and brought a cake and passed cake around to all the people in the nursing home. And she was they took a picture and put it in the paper. And that was when we lived on Marquette Street, across the street from school. And that's out at Billy's. Billy bought Mom's house, Mom and Dad's house on Maribel. We go out there quite often and have our family parties out there. And that's Bubba playing with the kids in the backyard on Maribel. And that was here where some of us got together for Christmas. My mother with one of the grandchildren.
When life held troubled times and had me down on my knees, there's always been someone to come along and comfort
There's
me.
my mother and Paul.
Nancy's child, that's my mother. A stranger to lend a helping hand.
There's Alan and I and my mother.
Just to see.
And there's my brothers and sisters and our spouses with Mother. That's Carrie and Ryan riding the horse at Uncle Billy's.
That someone lights the way with just a single ray of hope.
And that's our whole family out at Billy's for a family party. And that's my mother and Donald's mother at a Christmas party over here.
Sent down to us from somewhere up above. they come to you.
It's me and my mother.
In our darkest hours, to show
I think
us
that's
how
Donnie
to
and
give,
Mama.
to teach us how to give, to guide us with the light of love.
There's me and Donald with my
They
mother.
wear so many faces, show up in the strange
Mama and Mama
places,
Beatty.
to grace
They were
us
very
with
good
their
friends.
mercy in our time of need. Oh, I believe there are angels among us, sent down to us from somewhere up above.
That's me when I was in Clarksdale, Rita and I, when I saw Santa Claus and had Mama's makeup all over my face. And that was some friends and I, and that's a picture of our orchestra from high school. That's me working for an oil company. And then that's working in Alexandria at the telephone company. I was a junior draftsman, and that's some friends I had in Alexandria. Her name was Eva Rose, it's Beverly and I. We had gone out to the city park for just a little hiking, picnicking. And that's my best friend, Beverly Smith, at the time.
We're out together, dancing cheek to cheek. Heaven, I'm in heaven.
Now this is Donald's high school picture. Oh no, it's one of his pictures from Catholic High. And that's two boys, I don't know who they are. That's Donald and Milton when they were little, from pre-K. That's Milton and a friend of his when they were teenagers. And that's Orlis, my best friend and sister-in-law in Milton. And that's Donald and two of his high school friends. I don't know who they are. That's Donald and Teddy Hall. He was his very best friend. And that's a picture when Donald, I guess, was in junior high. And that was right after we got married, I believe. And that's when we were on a picnic out at the bayou before we got married.
The charm about you will carry me through to heaven. I'm in heaven.
That's an article that was in the paper. Ori Muse was the society editor, and she came out and put that wrote the article, and that's me. And a friend of mine, a lady friend, wanted me to fix my hair like that, and I never wear my hair like that. I was so disappointed with it. And we were leaving a wedding. They were getting ready for a honeymoon, and that was the car, and that's before we got married out at Falls River. And that's when my sister-in-law, Agnes and Milton, got married. And I was so loop-legged then. Donald's brother had given me 2 or 3 drinks, but he was mixing them so strong, and I couldn't see straight. I got home and really had to go to bed. And that's my sister Edie and her husband Bob. And that's that's Aunt Edie again doing her dance. That's Barbara and Butchie, my baby brother. There's my older sister Rita and her husband Johnny. He's deceased. And that's Billy, my brother, and his wife Audrey, and their children. That's a friend of mine. We were out at the park in Alec, and that's Barbara and Butch again. We were over at Edie's for a Christmas gathering, and we took that picture. That's of all of us. It's Judy and Robert, DDA, Billy and Butch Gipson. That's Billy and Butch and me. And that's Edie and I at her house for her St. Patrick's parade party. That's when we lived on Marquette Street, and Donna Ann and the kids were playing out back, and that's the front of the house when it snowed. And that was our first house on Orchid Street. Donald's building a fence around the house, and the kids out in the wagon. And there's Jeannie and Alan making a snowman. And there's Nancy, Donna Ann, and Jeannie. And that's when we got back from Beaumont, we moved on South Maiden and Jeannie broke her arm, but that's on the Marquette Street, and that was one Christmas, and that was another Christmas when we were on Marquette Street, and this is on Marquette Street too, and that's Marquette Street too, and Mama Beatty made that beautiful little dress for Carrie, and that's our family when we spent some time at Edith's at Easter one year, and this was in Beaumont or Lake Charles, and that's when we lived on Marquette Street at Christmas time, and that's my picture of the Blessed Mother and the Sacred Heart. And that's Janie and Kathy, I think. And that's the kids gathering up the snow on Marquette Street to make them a snowman. And that's Alan. When he was little, he was always so little. Beatty used to call him more dangerous, and that was in Lake Charles. That was back on Marquette Street again. We had when the children were getting all the Christmas toys, and that's on South Maiden. Alan and Kathy were playing in the den with their toys, and that's the house we live in now. Raven Drive, and that's some of the kids that went to Fort Polk with Rita when Johnny was there for his when they called him back, and that's some of the kids at one of our places where we went to camp, and that's in the backyard. We were doing some picnicking. Some of the kids in it's Nancy and Paul. And there's Alan playing the piano and singing with Jeannie and Kathy, and then Bubba and Alan with the guitar. Jeannie and Nancy, the little ones. Danny. There's Donald and I and kids, and that's at Donnie's wedding. Bubba and Alan were with him, and we were at a park here, a fair. It's Donald and I. This is out in Colorado. They love to go out and have family gatherings out there. And they'll bring as many as 25 with them out there. They'd all get together and go. That's Alan and Chris and Nancy. And that's Jeannie and Bubba and Alan out in the backyard. And that's Donnie and Jeannie in a swimming pool. And that's the tradition continues from Calicut. Well, that's when we went on one of our trips in Florida. We all got together. The kids came and got in the bed with me, and we took them out to a park, and they played. That's Corey and Adam. They were always real good friends. And that's Ryan and Adam. No, that's Corey and Adam again. And that's Ryan and Bart playing chords. That's Carrie and Eric. Ryan and doing his dancing, and he loved to dance. He still does. They're riding the horse at Grandma's again. They love to go out to Grandma's and ride the horse. And we went to Chicago, and we went to the museum in Chicago, and they really enjoyed it. There were so many things for them to see. And they held their nose because they said it stunk, and then all the kids were going around holding their nose. But there was a lot of difference. I think it was 3 stories, and they went to every one, and then there was a lot for the children to do. And that's for had a lot of little birthday parties. Had a lot of fun. They always made special little cakes for them. Kathy was the cake maker, and they always had a special cake for every party. Diane always made her Christmas cookies, and that was a big occasion. She always, for every holiday, she made cookies for that occasion, and the children would help her. And Donald's helping the children with the snow out in Iowa. We went to Iowa and it had a big snow, and across the street from the community college was a graveyard, and that was the hill where they could go down and toboggan and all, and they gathered up all the snow and played in the toboggan, and it was a lot of fun for all of them because we don't have a lot of snow here in Louisiana.
When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what you're.
And Ryan's doing something. He's working on a wheel. And I don't remember what that wheel was. But, oh, that's when we went to the Science Museum, the Children's Museum in New Orleans. And there were so many things they could touch and play with and figure out how to do them. And they went to the grocery store and did the cash register, and there's a lot of different things in the Children's Museum. And we went to, they loved going to Yogi Bear and going in the swimming pool out there and camping and riding their bikes and going over the bumps and having a lot and doing all the different things they could do at Yogi Bear, building a fire and roasting their s'mores and marshmallows and having a good time camping. And Carrie and Eric were very, very close, and we have some real cute pictures of them when they were real little. They're very dear to me. I love them very much. And the children all got along very well together. They always liked to play with their cousins.
You got a friend in me.
child. Disabilities, babies. She's infants up till toddlers, and she's into that's what her profession is now. And she used to love. They came up during the time that they had the flower children, and they loved daisies. And Chris didn't give her a wedding ring. He gave her some sort of emblem that she always wore around her neck, and they were really, it was really true love for both of them. But it just came up in the 60s when all of that was very popular in those days, So that was the trend. And they got married, and they had 3 children, Paul, Wendy, and Brian. And they lived in New Orleans a while, and then they moved to Baton Rouge. And Paul was born in New Orleans. Wendy and Brian were born here. And, Wendy always liked to dance. And we have pictures of her on the patio where she would just be dancing all by herself. She'd hear music, and up and down she'd go, just dancing. And they always made real pretty birthday cakes and had real nice little birthday boys. And Chris was very close to his family, and Nancy was too. They were very loving, concerned parents. They went to the beach one time, the Boy Beach, with Rita and Johnny, and they played in the water a whole lot on the beach, and they had a real good time. And we took them to a park over there in New Orleans, in the Boy Beach, at the Boy Beach, and they enjoyed that. Nancy loved Disney World, and she had so much Mickey Mouse stuff all over her house. She has a curio, cabinet that lights up, and it has so many little figurines, all Disney World. And she loves Disney World. And all the kids did, and Chris and Nancy go about 2 or 3 times a year. Paul and Wendy worked at Disney World. During their summer vacations, they would go and get summer jobs in Disney World. And Paul was a lifeguard, and Wendy was a train driver on one of the little rides at one time. Well, Paul was born in New Orleans, and Dolly and I went, and we stayed a week, and I told Nancy if she needed me, I'd come back, and she called after about a week, and she asked me to come back, so we went back for another week. But he was a real sweet baby. He got yellow jaundice, but he did real well and grew up to be a fine young man. He was a lot of fun. He loved sports, and he loved to play soccer, and he was a good little boy. I used to go help him and read to him, and he'd want to read the same book over and over and over and put it down and he'd pick it back up. Or puzzle, one thing they'd do, and I'd do that, and then for a long time, and then I'd put that down and then he'd pick it up and want to do it again. So that's what I did mostly, read and do puzzles or anything that you get started on, you had to keep doing it. But they were fun to be with, all of them. They had nice little birthdays. He went to St. George School. He started playing soccer. Chris was his coach. And he got into sports. And his main sport that he liked the best was soccer. And he went to Europe. He went overseas one year with his soccer team. And I don't think he played soccer he went to school at Catholic High. He graduated from Catholic High. And he didn't play soccer over there. But he went to grammar school at St. George. And that's when he played soccer a whole lot with the Breck teams. He was a real sweet little boy. Very happy, pleasant to be with. Very athletic when it comes to his soccer. He went to school at LSU when he got out of Catholic High, and Daddy gave him a little car, one of the little cars that we weren't using anymore because we bought a new one, and he took that. That was his first car. And then he went to work in New Orleans. He has an engineering degree, and he went to work in New Orleans, and he met Joanne. His wife's name is Joanne Brusselera, and they gave him a little party to announce their engagement over at Kathy's house. And we had a lot of fun. We played a lot of real nice little games. It was real nice with Paul. A new member of our family. She's a real sweet girl, and we were all real proud of her. And they got married in Vermont, and we went to the Green Mountain Inn, and Nancy and Chris had the rehearsal supper, and Chris belongs to a Mercedes-Benz car club, and they had a friend that they knew up there, and he had this Mercedes-Benz at our disposal, and the couple went all around in the car, and he was the chauffeur, so we had a chauffeur, and it was just beautiful up there. And they love to take trips, and so they enjoy it. They're very happy. Moonlight in Vermont. That's Wendy Elizabeth, and she was a beautiful little baby. We were all proud of our little girl, and Nancy was very attentive. She was a very good mother. She was always there to see that everything was right. And Wendy loved to dance. She'd just bounce up and down every time you'd hold her. She was really just full of sunshine. She was our sunshine baby. She has a beautiful personality. Real sweet, happy all the time, always smiling. And she's still like that. She looked a little bit like Grandma Beatty, I think. When she grew up to be a pretty little girl, she did dancing. She went to 2M's when she was real young. She started dancing at 2M. And she danced around 13 years over there. she was a principal 3 or 4 years. Very good. She went to St. George Elementary School. She was a good student. And that was for Mary Jean's wedding. I believe she was a flower girl at Mary Jean's wedding. She learned to ride her bicycle, and that's her school uniform from St. George. She's walking on sunshine. She's a beautiful little girl. And all her little classmates. She's starting to grow up now. She's getting into junior high. Still going to St. George. She was a cheerleader at St. George on the dance team. Now she's going to St. Joseph's Academy. When she graduated from there, she went to St. Joseph's. She grew up to be a beautiful young lady. She enjoyed her work at Disney World. She worked over there in the summertime. Then she graduated from LSU. And then that's a father-daughter, something that she might have been one of her sororities. She belonged to a sorority, one of her sorority parties. And after graduation, she moved to Atlanta, Georgia. And she has a job, and she's just perfectly happy over there. She's real happy, and we're real proud of her. She graduated from LSU. Oh, that must be Brian with Nancy. Yeah, look at Brian. He's just happy as he can be. He's a sweet little boy. And we were so happy we had another little boy in the family, and he was just sweet as he could be, and climbing all over everything. Being a little boy. We were real proud to have him. When I'd go sit with him, it would be the same thing. I'd read the same books over and over and over, play the same toys, and we never could get enough. Nancy made him a gingerbread man. He had a cowboy hat. He went to St. George too, and he went to preschool out at LSU. And he liked to play with all his bikes and everything. Always had nice birthday parties. A lot of Disney World in that family. Played with all his little toys, and he played soccer. He loved to play soccer too. And at St. George, he was went to school at St. George. He was with his mother and dad there. That's when he was in grammar school. He was growing on up a little bit. He's getting a little older. He started playing the saxophone when he was at St. George. And he went on to play the saxophone, and he liked to play soccer. Those were the two things that he liked the most. And he played the saxophone in the Catholic High Band. I used to go to the games, and I loved those big top hats with the feathers, with the feather on it. I went to his concerts at Catholic High. Really good. I enjoyed them very much. Then he graduated from high school, and went to LSU. He went to school, and he did he went to work for LSU in the computer department. And he gave up his music, but I still think he liked to play soccer a little with Breck After he got in college, he went into geology, and he's studying rocks and the earth. He's going to graduate school.
Dreams come true. Dreams come true. Dreams come true.
Well, that's Christopher and Paul and Wendy and Brian. And Christopher graduated from LSU. He went to school in New Jersey, and he's a social worker. He has his own. He's a clinical social worker. He has his own clinic, and he works very hard, and he's very supportive of his family. And he and Nancy are very close. They do a lot of things together, and they've always done everything as a family. And they're very supportive of one another. And the children are just part of them because they're all so close. Nancy has worked real hard with her family, and so has Chris. And they all grew up to be real fine, and we're all real proud of them.
Is kind. She brings to those who love.
And Nancy, when
Sweet fulfillment
Wendy got a little bit older, she liked music, and she liked the NSYNCs. We wished upon a star, and we got Paul, Wendy, and Brian. And we were so proud of them. So you have to be real thankful for things you wish for that you get. They all worked at Disney World, and Disney World has been a very big part of their family. It's their dog.
Dreams come, dreams come, dreams come true. Dreams come, dreams come, dreams come true. Is it your story? Dreams come, dreams come, dreams come true. Make a wish.
I made the African back in the chairs. First African I made, I took crochet lessons at Sears, and I came back with this big African. I couldn't believe I did it. Children were real sweet. There's Aunt Donna with them. She always loved to be with the kids.
Who's the leader of the club that's made for you and me? M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E. Hey there, hi there, ho there, you're as welcome as can be. M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E.
Nancy worked at Disney, and not Nancy. Nancy loves to go to Disney. She has a lot of Disney paraphernalia. Wendy worked at Disney, and Paul worked at Disney, and Brian worked at Disney. He worked at Epcot, and Paul worked at the water park as a lifeguard, and Wendy was one of the chipmunks, and then she was Kermit the Frog, and then she worked on a little train, and she was in a parade in New Orleans, and we all went down to see Nancy in the Disney parade for New Orleans. So Disney's a big, big part of their life. Oh, and the car that Chris has is a Rolls Royce, and I tell you, I really felt like I was some kind of royal person riding in that car at Paul and Joanne's wedding in Vermont. It was wonderful.
Who's the leader of the club that's made for you and me?
And that Paul and Wendy were the flower girl and the little ring bearer at Kathy's wedding.
Forever let us hold our banner high. High, high, high. Come along and sing the song and join the jamboree. M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E.
Well, life on the farm is kinda laid back. Ain't much an old country boy like me can't hack. It's early to rise, early in the sack.
And this is Bubba. He was our oldest son. And we named him Gerard after St. Gerard. But everybody would say, well, it's not Gerard, it's Jared. And then people say it's not Jared, it's Gerard. So we said, well, we're just going to call him Bubba. And now everybody calls him Bubba. Even at work, they tell us if we call up there and say Jared or Gerard, they don't know who we're talking about. But we always ask for Bubba Beatty, so everybody knows who that is. He was our first son. He went to grammar school at Our Lady of Mercy. He played football. That was his main sport that he liked more than anything. And he played the guitar. He writes music. He went on to Catholic High, and he played football over at Catholic High. He graduated from Catholic High. He wrote a lot of music. He wrote his own music. He played for us at Christmas when we'd have Christmas Eve and open our presents. He always played the Christmas music for us. We'd always make him play Mother's Featherbed, Grandma's Featherbed. Bubba graduated from LSU, and he went to work for Hibernia Bank. And when he was working at the bank, he met Lisa Rizzuta. And he had been married for 10 years, and that marriage didn't produce children. And he wanted children, and so that marriage was annulled, so that they could each have their own life. Him and his first wife wanted to have different lives, and so he ended up marrying Lisa, and they had Adam. Adam was Bubba's pride and joy. He was a beautiful little boy, and we were all very proud of him. And he was really a good little boy. He loved music from the time he was born. He would just stop and listen to it when I'd sing to him. And Bubba wrote a song, and I didn't know it till just recently that he had written this song.
Come on, Daddy, let's run.
Adam when he was a baby and in his childhood.
Ready, set, go. Come with me, let's play. He'll set my cold world aglow. When little Adam says, Daddy, I love you, all them gray skies, they turn to blue. He is a rainbow, he takes away the storm.
And he visited his great-grandfather's tomb
I love you too.
He was in a nursery daycare, and the people were very, very close to him. He calls them Mama and Papa.
Well, the good Lord gives us many things to deal with in life. He'll give you trials, tribulation, and strife. But the one thing he gave me makes it all worthwhile.
She won't like me saying
That's my son, praise God, he makes me proud. When little Adam says, Daddy, I love you,
but his game is football.
All them gray skies, they turn to blue.
To go to Catholic High.
He is a rainbow, he takes away the storm. Little Adam, I love you too. Oh, little buddy, I love you too.
As he got older, he started to look more like his daddy a little bit. Said he was going to go down and play football.
Gone, all those moments in precious time.
Well, he
he's
goes
now
to
grown
Catholic
to a fine
and
young
he takes all the exercises and weightlifting and everything he can to keep him in shape for his football. The sport that he really wants to play
anymore.
He's very close to his uncle, his Vance, and to me. I'm very close to Adam too. Couldn't make it to his first Holy Communion.
Last Tuesday there
I got
was
Mass
but
and I got sick when I was in
last
church.
Tuesday
And I told
God
him that I
blessed
just couldn't
us
go.
with him.
And he was so disappointed I couldn't go to his
Wasn't
house
it
for the
last
reception
Tuesday
because I
we
was
were
so sick.
made new
And he said, "Well, Grandma, we have a cake."
with life's
It made me feel
joy
so bad,
just
and I still
round the
regret that I
bend.
couldn't go and be with
Tell
him.
me
What a
where
boy he
have
had.
all those
Mary Jean was our fourth child, her name is Mary Jean Beatty, and she went to grammar school over at Our Lady of Mercy, and then she went to high school at St. Joseph's Academy. She was one of the brunettes over there. She loved to dance, and she was a lot of fun-loving, and she worked for Gulf States for 10 years. And she went with one boy, and then he married someone else. She was just broken-hearted. But she was out with some friends with Gulf States, and they introduced us to someone they knew, and they talked, and they became very good friends, and it wasn't too long they were married. And she moved to Iowa because that's where he wanted to live. And they had a beautiful wedding. They had an antebellum wedding at an antebellum home, and she was dressed in antebellum dress, and it was very pretty. She had a lot of bridesmaids, and her daddy gave her away, and it was just a real beautiful day for all of us. And Paul and Wendy were her little ring bearer and flower girl. Her husband plays jazz piano, and we all enjoy it very much. And Jeannie and David are real happy in Iowa now. They have their family up there, and it's worked out real good for them. And we're happy for both of them. Hope they'll always be real happy as they are now. This is Eric, Jeannie and David's first son, Eric Galster, Eric Michael. And we were all real proud of Eric. He was born in Baton Rouge. Here in Baton Rouge, they hadn't moved to Iowa yet. When he was a baby, he lived here. But it wasn't too long after he was born that they moved to Iowa. And we didn't get to see him too much when he was a little boy, but he always came home. They'd come home in the summertime, and we got to know him. And we'd see him a little, about once a year. And we'd go up there. Dawn was still living, and we'd go see him. And I was always there to help her when she had her children. Dawn would bring me, and I'd help her till she could get back on her feet. Eric went to a school, a little Catholic school for little children, and then they moved to Goose Lake, and he went to school at Goose Lake, and then he graduated at Clinton. He moved to Clinton High for his graduation. But he was always very interested in all of his little toys that you put things together with, and he made his confirmation and his first Holy Communion at St. Patrick's in Iowa, and they had a little go-kart. They had a big yard. He had 2 acres, and they loved to be out there, and they helped their daddy cut the grass. They had a dog, and they said their dog's name was Bear, and he liked music. He played the trombone in the band. He's an Eagle Scout. He was in scouting. He enjoyed scouting. His daddy was very supportive of him. when he was a senior in high school, he joined the Army, and he went to training in Fort Bragg, I believe, and he graduated from boot camp, and they sent him to the 10th Mountain Division, and from there he's been in the Army, 10th Mountain Division. He went to Afghanistan. Kirk was Jeannie's second son. Donnelly and I were fixing to take a trip to Alaska, and we were going to be gone several months, and we were going by to be with Jeannie when Kirk was born. And we got a phone call when we were in St. Louis. We were camping. We always went in our camper. And when Donnelly answered the phone, I knew something was wrong, and then he wouldn't tell me for a long time. And then he told me that Kirk had come early and that he just weighed 4 pounds. Well, I knew right away that it might be serious, but Kirk was a beautiful little baby, and we just couldn't get over what a little man he looked like. He was little, but he was solid, and we were so proud of him. And Jeannie was too. She called him her little professor. So everything worked out real great. So we were really pleased with how everything worked out. But we stayed there several weeks before we went to continue our trip to Alaska. We went up the East Coast and came down through Canada, and they met us in Wisconsin at a campground over there. But Kirk, he liked karate, and he was in the Scouts. And he's an Eagle Scout. He's even went a little further than the Eagle Scout. He's to the last stage that you can go to now. And he plays the trumpet. And he loves music, just like this whole family does. And he plays the piano with his daddy sometimes. He did take piano lessons for a while, but he gave that up. He plays the trumpet now. But he was a cute little fellow, and but he really plays that trumpet, and he's going to graduate next year from Goose Lake. That's the school. I don't think it's in Goose Lake, but that's not the name of the school, but it's in Goose Lake, and we were there. We didn't get to go for his communion, but they had a little reception for them afterwards. He joined the military, and he'll go to the military when he graduates from high school.
Sweet 16 today. She's looking like a mom.
Jennifer is the one that was born when Daddy and I were going to Alaska. We just went up to be with Jeannie when Kirk was born, but when we were going to Alaska, we went to buy Jeannie's because it was time for Jennifer to be born. And she was a beautiful little girl, and we were all real proud of her. And Jeannie had gotten her little doll, and she wanted her to have a little dress just like her doll. So she asked Donna Ann if she'd make her a dress to match her little doll's dress. So she was so cute with her doll and her little dress to match. But she was a beautiful little girl, and we were all real proud of her. She has a beautiful little voice. We used to sing. And she took piano lessons for a while. She sings in the choir. She sings in a school chorus. She's a little cheerleader, and she's in a lot of little plays. They had a wonderful music teacher when she was in grammar school, and she's in high school now. She's a freshman in high school, and she crossed over, so she's a little lady now. And she likes sewing. She made her first dress. When she made her first Holy Communion, Donna Ann made her dress and her veil, and she went up on a bus to bring it to her. She wanted to bring it to her personally, and she rode the Greyhound bus. I was scared to death for Donna Ann to go up and make all those transfers and everything. But she got there and back on the bus and brought Jennifer her little dress and veil. And we were all so proud of her and Jennifer. It was just beautiful. And Jennifer likes to sing. She sings in the choir, and she plays a flute in the band. And she's very active at school. Dolly and I were on a trip to Alaska when we went by there to be with Jeannie, and we were there for her baptism, and Daddy and I were there for that, and we were real glad to be there. It was beautiful. And she's just an asset to their family with their 2 boys. It's kind of nice to have a little sister in there. I know they're all real proud of her. She made herself a prom dress, and she made herself a spring dress, a little spring dress that she loved, and we all loved it. And she's just getting to be a big girl now. That's Jeannie's house when they first moved to Iowa. They moved. That's what they called the McDonald farmhouse. It was in Goose Lake, and then they moved out, and they have a ranch-style home now. It's a real nice house, and they have a beautiful back porch, glassed in all the way around. They're real happy. All the children are established in school, and Jeannie and David are settled in Iowa now, and I think they're all real happy there. The children grew up there. They were all but Eric was born there, and that's home to all of them now. David loves his job. It's right around. It's not too far from where they live. He travels, but he's always able to come home and be with the family a whole lot, and he gets very much involved with their activities. Of course, they miss him when he's gone, and we get to go see him. We get to go see him sometimes. I always enjoy my visits with him. I love her house. Love sitting on that back porch. In her dining room, we always get around the dining room table and have a big dinner. The kids love to play in the backyard. She has a little rose garden now. David gave it to her for Mother's Day one year. Jennifer and Kurt took piano lessons. Now they sitting on the bale of hay. He's freezing to death. It's me with the grandchildren. Beautiful family. Alan was our 5th child. He was very, very small, always real little. He was real cute, and one Christmas he woke up and saw all his toys under the tree. And boy, he said he just grinned. He said, I thought I'd been bad. He couldn't believe all those presents were for him. He had a little dog, and he come dragging it home, telling me, Mama, look what followed me home. Daddy used to say the reason he was so little, my daddy, was because he weighted him down carrying that long name around with him. I wanted him to be called Alan, and I wanted him to be named after St. Alphonsus and St. Joseph, so he got the whole thing, Alan Alphonsus Joseph. And that's what he goes by. He's real proud of his name. He played the saxophone. He started playing the saxophone when he was in 5th grade at Mercy, and he was bigger than him. But then he went on to Broadmoor High School, and he was very good with the sax, and had a real good music teacher, and he got to play a lot of the jazz music with them. Then he went on to LSU and got his degree in music performance. He plays the saxophone. He played in all the graduations and everything at LSU. And he went on back to school because he wasn't making any money with his music degree, so he wanted to be an engineer. and he got a job, and he went to school at night. It took him about 10 years to get his engineering degree. And he went into industrial engineering, and seems like that wasn't the right thing. And now he's going back. He's going to get. He's taking some more subjects, and he's going for his mechanical engineering degree. But Jeannie was here when he graduated from college for his engineering degree, and we all went. So we're real proud of Alan. He's Uncle Alan to everybody. Connie was our sixth child. She was a beautiful little girl. She didn't live very long. I was taking tranquilizers, and she got into them, and one morning I heard her coughing, and we rushed her to the hospital, and she didn't live but till 3 o'clock that afternoon. And she was just a beautiful little girl. She was 21 months old, but she did learn to say a few words. She learned her own little song, Ting Tang, Wally Wally Bing Bang, and she just loved her little song. And she knew Jesus. I have a picture of the Sacred Heart, and she'd point to the Sacred Heart and say, Jesus. And one time she did that, and she just grabbed me by the face and just started kissing me all over the face. So that meant an awful lot to me, because I felt like she kind of made her own little renewal at that time. And we've always missed her very much. I know her brothers and sisters did too. And we loved her very much. That's Kathy. Kathy Bernadette Beatty was our 7th child. Grandma Beatty made her a beautiful little dress, beautiful little baby dress. And that's her Uncle Bob with her. And that's her little dog. She had a little dog that got killed, and we buried him in the backyard. And she was close to her daddy when she was a little girl. He had to go get her and take her to the doctor. She wouldn't come with me. I had to call him at work. And he said, well, I can't come home. I said, well, she won't go unless you come home. So he had to take her to the doctor. He had to come home. But she loved the water. She just loved the water. And she was close to her cousin Candy, and Candy helped her a lot. She loved to ski. She was a champion skier. And she went to school at Broadmoor High, and she sang in the choir. She has a nice little voice. She's musical. She belonged to the Girl Scouts. She was active in the Girl Scouts. And she went to work when she was in high school, and she went to work at Wilson's jewelry store, and she met Kenny. And when she graduated, when they went on their senior trip, Kenny went to the same place she went, and they ran into one another, and they got married later. Kathy married Kenny, and they had a beautiful wedding. She was a beautiful bride, and they went to Florida on their honeymoon. And when she told Donald she was going to get married, he said, well, you can't get married yet. I'm not through raising you yet. She was so young. But he gave her away to Kenny, and he always liked Kenny. So if it had been anybody else, I don't think he would have given her away at that time. But they had a beautiful little girl, Carrie, and her name is Carrie Amber Jenkins, and she's always been so pretty. Just a beautiful little girl, and very, very talented. And she would always entertain everybody, everywhere she went. Even when she was a little girl, they'd put her on the stage just to hear her talk, and she'd have the whole audience laughing. And she would just entertain everybody around her. And always a pleasure. She was very, very smart in school. She was always in the top part of her class, made very good grades. She went to Most Blessed Sacrament in grammar school. She was in the Girl Scouts, and she's very active in the Girl Scouts. And she did a lot of Cajun dancing, she and Ryan. And the whole family got involved with it. We just all loved it because we loved being with the children and watching them dance. And she just grew up to be a beautiful little girl. And she went to St. Joseph's Academy when she graduated from grammar school at Most Blessed Sacrament. And she joined the choir. The reason she wanted to join the choir or go to St. Joseph was because she wanted to be in the choir. She loved the way they were there for when they took them around school and introduced them to everything, and she wanted to be in the choir. And she's singing the song as background music for this tape. And we were all so proud of her voice. She had a beautiful voice. She loved to skate, and we wanted to go see her skate, and we'd all go watch her skate. And she loved to ski. She loved to go up in the mountains and ski in the mountains. She was beautiful up in the mountains. I just thought she was so pretty. She'd wear that white coat. She had a white coat with her long black hair, and just go walking through the streets in the little town. And I just didn't think there was a prettier sight in the world than Carrie walking through those streets. And she's very close to her cousin, Wendy. And we're very proud of Carrie. We love her very much. This is Ryan Patrick Jenkins, and he was Kathy's second child. He was a beautiful little baby. He was born when they lived out in Denham Springs, but when he was just a little boy, he lived here with us while they were building their house. And he was so sweet. I'd tell him to go sit in his rocker, and he'd go sit in the rocker, and he loved that rocker so much he took it home with him when they got the house built. But he was so cute. He played soccer, and he loved to dance. He did the Cajun dancing and got a trophy every time he danced in a contest. He played soccer and played on the United team that was the champion team for Baton Rouge. And it was a very good team to be on. And he played football over at Redemptress when he went to Redemptress, but he went to grammar school at Most Blessed Sacrament, and he was a good little student. He did real well in school, and he worked real hard, and we're real proud of him. And he played football the first year he went to Redemptress. He was the kicker, and they called him Maraca, because he just did things that they'd never heard of before. And he did everything the coach told him, just put the ball right where he wanted it. And so everybody called him Morocco. And that was his freshman year at Redemptress. And he loved computers. He was in the computer club. And he was very into the computer and the Cajun dancing and the soccer. Got trophies everywhere. And Corey was their baby, Corey Jenkins. And he was real cute. He used to come over and we'd walk around the block. He had a little red wagon. And one time we'd walk and we'd pick up leaves and sticks and all kind of things and cones, and he'd put them in his little wagon. And one time I put them in a little manila envelope, and I put it all in the toy box, and I named it Corey's Stuff. And it was after he was in high school that I found it. And I remembered us doing all of that. I found his little bag with all Corey's stuff in there, sticks and leaves and all kind of pine cones and every rocks. So that was really fun. And he played soccer, and he was in Oliver. He was very musical, and Carrie helped him to learn some of the songs from Oliver. And he almost got the part of Oliver. He was so good that they really didn't know if they would choose the other guy or him. But they chose the other guy, and but he did a real good job with that, and we all went to see it, and it was a fun time for him. He joined the Baton Rouge Children's Choir, and that was fun for him. He met a lot of nice people, and they sang at the Christmas programs downtown, in the square downtown where they did all the Christmas programs. And he had a lot of good friends, and he enjoyed it very much. Now they've gone into skiing. They love to ski up in the mountains in Colorado. They all go up and they bring all their friends with them. And it's a lot of fun, and we all enjoy it very, very much. We love you, Corey. That's Ryan and Carrie when they were little. And that's Kenny and Kathy and their family, but Corey's not born yet. And that's Ryan and Corey after they had the baby, and they were very, very close. Kathy lost him one day, and then she found him in the bed, and she had to take a picture. She was so when she saw them together. And Corey and Carrie always did a lot of occasion dancing, and they all enjoyed it very much. Ryan works at Comp USA, and Carrie is a student in LSU. She's going into her major now, and she has a internship with a computer company here in Baton Rouge that she is supposed to be very happy to have. I know she is, and they are working toward her being able maybe to stay with that company and them supporting her through her college. And I know that she'll be there the rest of this summer, and hopefully that things will work out good for her in that department. They love to go to Colorado, the whole family. That's their little dog, Sugar. You can't leave Sugar out of that family. She's a very important part of that family, and me too. She knows her granny. And they go to Colorado. They bring all the friends with them, and they love Colorado. And that's one of their favorite things to do. They all ski, and it's just a big part of their family. And I love to go up there. I got to go with them once, and it was just beautiful. I'm sorry I couldn't make it the last time they went, but I had to cancel. And I just know they're having a good time, and when I know they're having a good time, then I have right here at home, I'm having a good time with them. And that's their group. They always have a big group of people there with them. And they take pictures, they have film, and that's their family. That's Donnie when he was a baby. He was my last child. We lived in Lake Charles when he was born. And he grew up in Lake Charles for about a year, and then we moved back to Baton Rouge when Donald got his job back at Exxon. And we went out to Grandma Gipson's house, and we had Christmas out there a lot of the time when he was very small. And we lived on Audubon Drive in over by Lady of Mercy Church when he was very small, and then we moved over to Braben Drive where we live now in our present house. So he spent his real early childhood in other places, but he spent most of his life right here in Baton Rouge on Braben Drive. He went to school over at Audubon Elementary and Sherwood Junior and Broadmoor High. And I sang in the choir, and he used to come to church with me all the time. All other children were gone, but he was still at home, and he was with me. He was my little buddy. And he was helping them move some dirt that was in the backyard, and he used to work around here a little bit. But he didn't have too much activity with sports. He never was really into sports, but he played the violin a little bit at school, and he liked fishing. He loved to fish in water, go on the boats and go out to the lake. Then we have a camp at Lake Roseman. But that was him when he was growing up, and I tell you, he joined the Marines, and I didn't recognize him when we got to Camp Pendleton because they made a man out of him. He graduated from Broadmoor High, and he graduated from boot camp at Camp Pendleton, and he stayed in the Army in the Marines. Excuse me, that's something I really shouldn't have said that because they don't like that. But he stayed in the Marines for 4 years and went to school and went to work, and then he'd just go in the summertime for 2 weeks and do his duties. And when they'd have to do duties, they weren't. A lot of times he went to Lafayette, and then when his 4 years was up, he was in the reserves. He got out of the Marines, and then he met his wife, Amy. Her name was Amy Furu. She teaches school in Plaquemine. She's a very beautiful girl, and we were all real proud of her. And they had a beautiful wedding. All his Marine buddies were there, and they just sent him off to married life in a proper way. We just loved Amy very much. Gerard was their first child, Bort. They call him Bort, Gerard Bartholomew. And he's a beautiful little boy. He was born when he lived in Baton Rouge, and Amy came from Plaquemine to live here in Baton Rouge for a while. And I think Margaret was born here too. And then they moved to Plaquemine. They moved back to Plaquemine. But Bort liked to play ball. He played a little t-ball, but mostly he likes games. He's very studious. He likes anything to build. He would build blocks and erector sets and anything to do with his hands and put things together and figure things out. He liked trains. Donnie took him to New Orleans a lot to let him watch the trains and different shows where they had trains, and he loved trains. And we loved to go to Yogi Bear. They all liked to go out there. And he went to school at St. John and played the trombone and made very good grades. And then Margaret was born here in Baton Rouge, and when they moved to Plaquemine, they bought an old house, and Donnie's been spending a lot of time remodeling. And then Margaret was born, and she's very smart. She likes to dance, and she goes to St. John's, the elementary school, and she did all the programs over there. She made her first Holy Communion, and we were over there for that. I went to that. I try to go to all of their functions at school that I can. And she dances, she takes dancing. She's a good little dancer. She plays clarinet in the school band, and she gets the Apple Award. This year she got 2 separate awards that no one else got, and then she got an award for having straight A's for 5 straight years. And then Joseph was born. He's the baby. He was the last one, and when he was baptized, her niece and Paul, his uncle, his cousin, was his godparents. And he's a real sweet little boy. He's very beautiful. I like him a lot. He loves music. His daddy likes to play the harmonica, and he'd go pull his chair up by his daddy and say, "Come on, Daddy, let's play music." And Donnie would get his harmonica out, and Joseph would play on his little harmonica, and they'd sit there and play music together. He was just blowing in and out, but it was fun to watch. And he's in pre-K now, I think he started kindergarten, and he's taking swimming lessons this year. But his favorite was Bob the Builder. And he went for Bob the Builder for a long time. But he's into all kind of cars and riding cars, and he loves to go play games at all the places where they have games to play. Fun things. He's in all the little Mardi Gras parades at their center over there. They always fix up something for him to ride in and fix him up for his Mardi Gras parades. And they're all proud of all of his little pictures and everything. And their family is very productive. She teaches school, and he works for a plant down the river. He works loading and unloading ships and trucks and freight trains and things like that. And the children are very active in everything. And Bart was in the Boy Scouts, and they joined Donnie joined the Knights of Columbus so they could use the pool and have family picnics and all with in Plaquemine there. And they built a racer for Bart, and he was in that little racing program they had over there until he got out of age to do that. But Bart has done real well in school too. He made straight A's. And Joseph is coming along real well. We're real proud of him. And he loves music. He loves to, when he hears music, he's the first one to get up and start dancing. And when Eric came for a visit, we all got together and went out and had dinner. This was our first camp out at Plaquemine. We bought a trailer, and Donald bought I think he must have bought a tractor. And he cleared the land, and I remember Donnie was just a little boy, and he was down crawling under all that brush and everything and saying, "Everything is beautiful." I remember still him doing that, and all the snakes and everything crawling around under there. But they finally got it all cleared off, and we had room enough to put a couple of trailers on. And he bought, and he planted a garden, and we built a little pier, and we fished off the pier, and the kids, we had a little boat and motor, and we have a beautiful rainbow in that picture. And we enjoyed our camp very much. It was really nice. They liked to fish, had a lot of fish out in the rivers. And Jeannie and David bought a piece of land out at Lake Rosemount. Jeannie had some money from working at Gulf State, and she didn't want it to just go to waste, so she told her daddy she wanted a piece of property or something. So they went out and they found a piece of property at Lake Rosemount. And when she married David, he said he wanted to build a camp. And he's an engineer, so he drew up the plans and got it all started, and then the whole family got together and built the camp, and we have all enjoyed it very much. And Jeannie had to move to Iowa when David took that job up in Clinton, and they couldn't keep the camp because the insurance was so high, them not being here all the time. So she offered it to anyone in the family before she sold it. And Bubba said that he wanted it. And when Bubba and Lisa bought it, then we were able to, he's been very generous. They've been very generous. They let the children go out there, and they all love to go out there. Jeannie and David lived out there for a while because they had got flooded out of their house. And they lived out there for a while, but when he left, they sold it. And but the children still love to go out there. It's a big, big part of their life. And all the children were little, and when they started going out there, they all loved to go swimming. There was a little sandy beach right in front of the camp for a while. But when Jeannie and them left, they dredged the lake and dried all the water out of it. And Bubba dredged out a canal in front and built one of those board walks out there so the sand and all the ground wouldn't wash out. and that did away with their little beach. But they have a beach in the big part of the lake, and they really enjoy it a whole lot. They can go in the boat, and they catch a lot of fish out there. All the kids have caught a fish, and every time they caught a big fish, the first one they caught got to get framed. And now I think we have 6 or 7 fish out there on the wall. All of their first fish. They have a lot of things out there for the kids to do. Bubba's got 2 or 3 boats, and they have a porta gorge, and it's just a whole lot of fun. And that's the camp right there. That's the porch on the camp. They built a big porch across the top, and that's a party they were having out there. The kids would have some of their friends over and have parties out there. And they would just go lay around in the water and float around on their floats and ride in their boats and fish, watch TV, play games, anything. And then they got into the paintball guns. And they went out there with all their friends. They'd go out and have paintball games out there. And they would have parties doing that. If one of them had a birthday party, they'd bring all their friends out and they'd have a paintball game. And they all had fun on the boats and building fires and doing their paintball. They still do it. They still enjoy going out there. Lisa and Bubba like it. And they've been very, very good to the rest of the family, letting us go. And Mary Jean's coming in a few days, and she's planning on spending some time out there. She always liked to fish. And I said, well, as long as you have your crickets and I have my magazines and a bed, we'll make out just fine. So they all enjoy it, and they have television out there, and they rent movies, and it's just a whole lot of fun. We all enjoy going out there, and Bubba keeps it up, but we try to help as much as we can, but he does a lot out there. Then we decorate the boat for the 4th of July, and we shoot firecrackers and just have a real good time. We barbecue, and we're looking forward to this next vacation that Jean is fixing to come to, and we're planning on the family getting out there for the 4th of July. That's a picture that we took before Donald died, and we always got all the children over, and I think that was around the 4th of July. That was the year before he died. And we always had our backyard barbecues, and all the neighbors and all our family, some friends would always come over, and we'd barbecue in the backyard. Donald loved to barbecue. And sometimes we'd have neighborhood barbecues, and then sometimes it would be just our family, and then sometimes my brothers and sisters and their families would join us. My brothers and sisters anyway would come, and we always enjoyed our backyard barbecues. It was a lot of fun, and we played ball. I tried to find things for the children to do, and we'd take pictures and try to get families pictures together, and just had a real good time out there in the backyard, cooking and playing. And we'd go out for holidays, Mother's Day, Easter, 4th of July, Memorial Days, Labor Day. We'd always barbecue. Most of the time we'd barbecue in the backyard. If we weren't going to Lake Rosemount, we'd barbecue in the backyard, and Don loved to cook.
But if I ever had
and of course we'd always have everything to go with it. But the children always loved it. Bubba would play the guitar for us, and we'd sing, and we'd just really have a wonderful time. And Wendy was always dancing. Just a little girl, she was always dancing. We'd clap, and she'd be so happy. And they blow bubbles. They loved to blow bubbles. Every time we'd barbecue, I'd try to have some kind of little toys for them. And that was one of the things that we'd do, blow bubbles. And we'd play badminton and volleyball and things like that they enjoyed doing. We'd hunt Easter eggs. We had Easter egg hunts. And we just had a good time just being together and cooking and talking and visiting and eating all the good food and playing in the hammock. We had a hammock. And I'd keep it in the house as long as I could carry it. And then I could take it outside and put it up, and it would keep that way. If I'd leave it out, it would rot, and that's eventually what happened because I couldn't get it in and out anymore. But it was so much fun. It lasted a long time because I carried it about 10 years out there, I know. And they all enjoyed the hammock. And Bubba had one out to camp too. And Kathy and her family always liked the Cajun dancing, and Carrie and Ryan took Cajun dance lessons. And they always went in all the little contests, and Ryan, they weren't in the same age group, but they'd love to dance together. But they weren't partners at the contest. But Ryan always got all the trophies in his age group. He must have 10 trophies where he would get all the Cajun dancing trophies. But Carrie had a good little partner. His name was Mikey. And they were so cute, and several times I just couldn't believe that they didn't come up with the trophies. But the man that taught the dancing, his grandchildren danced, and they were always the one that got the trophy. But they were so cute. And Corey danced. He had a little partner too. And that was always a real fun time for us. We'd all dance when they played that Cajun music. Dancing has always been a big part of the grandchildren's life. Jennifer started dancing when she was in Iowa at Breck, and she really enjoyed it a whole lot. It's a cute little costume she had on. And Margaret dances in Plaquemine, and she has a little dancing school over there that she goes to. And Wendy always danced at 2M. And that's where Wendy and Terry dance. They've always been at 2M. And they've been dancing around. I've been going to dance recitals, I think, for 15 years for Wendy and Carrie. And I've enjoyed them so much. And Donald got to go to one right before he died. And he got up out of his sick bed to go watch them dance. And they've always been such a pleasure to watch and to be with when they had their recitals. Margaret has been taking private lessons, jazz lessons in Baton Rouge, and she's in a competition program now where they get ratings and all. But they don't. Her teacher in Plaquemine doesn't believe in ratings, and they don't judge on that. But they just have real nice little recitals, and they treat everybody the same, and they don't rate one better than the other. So she doesn't get that in her regular dance classes. But she's a good little dancer, and all of her programs this year were really nice. And Carrie and Wendy have been dancing for 2M's between them for 15 years. I've been going to all of their dance classes for 15 years, dance recitals. And I've enjoyed every one of them, and Daddy got to go to one right before he died. He got up, he was sick, and he went to the last recital before he died at 2M's. And it was a very special dance recital, and they've always danced real well. They're both principals, and they've had major parts in all of for the past several years in all of their dance recitals. But Wendy had to give it up because she moved out of Baton Rouge, but it's always been a big part of all of our lives. That's our first camping trip. We had bought a tent and everything to go with it, and we went to the Gulf Shores and stayed in the state park at Gulf Shores, and we had a wonderful time over there. But I got so sunburned. Kathy was a baby, and I had to hold her the whole time, and I couldn't do anything, and I was miserable. We came home and sold it all because I told Donald I couldn't do it. And then we bought a little pop-up camper, and we started having fun again. But we had a lot of real nice family vacations, and we bought a little trailer a little pop-up trailer, and then we went camping a lot at Navarre Beach, and then we went to the state park over at Gulf Shores a lot, and we went camping in a trailer up the Florida coast. And we went to St. Augustine and had a wonderful camping trip to St. Augustine, the old city. The children stopped at one of the state parks we had gone to, the Swanee State Park, I believe, and there was an old rope swing out there, and Corey had chicken pox. He was just getting over the chicken pox, and he'd get on that little rope swing and go, and they'd fall off in the water. And when we asked him after the trip what was his favorite thing, and he said the rope swing. After going through all of that, everything we did, that was so much fun. That rope swing was what he said was the most fun for him. And that's Donald in one of the museums over there. We were having, we were with Nancy that trip. This trip we were with Nancy and Chris and their family at Disney World. And that's when the Pope came to Baton Rouge, and Dolly and I went to the Mass that he had in New Orleans. And we always went through Amarillo when we went out west, and they had this big steakhouse there. We always stopped and had steak dinner, and we went to the Grand Canyon with Donald and me and Jeannie and Alan, Jeannie and Donnie and Donna Ann, and that was my first trip to the Grand Canyon, and we all just enjoyed that very much. And we came back through on one of the trips. We went through Atlanta and saw the Stone Mountain, and it was very interesting. But we always had a lot of picnics on a lot of eat-outs, and we would camp, and we'd have all kind of good food and have watermelons and everything. Very nice. And that's our Prowler camper, and that's a campground in Houston, outside of Houston, when Bub and Lisa and Adam came with us. Adam was a baby, but we had a good time. And this is one of the campgrounds that, I don't know where this was, but we were at a beach, and that's in Arizona, and Carrie is being the big cross they had out there at the Passion Play, and that's when she was dressed up in her pretty little dress, and she got on the stage and had everybody in the place just laughing at all of her little things that she would say. She was entertaining everybody. And they wanted to put her in their program, but they didn't, because she didn't have any special talent. She was just making everybody laugh and just talking. That was her talent. And she had really done a good job with that. But we camped a lot, and we enjoyed all of our camping trips, and that was in Canada. We went to Canada one year to Niagara Falls, and there we are, Kathy and her family, and we all had on our rain suits, and we went in on the Maiden of the Mist, and got misted up pretty good with all the sprays from the falls. And we went across the trolley thing that went over the falls, and it was scary, but we did it. And we did a lot of viewing of the falls. There's different places where you could see them, and that's a beautiful rainbow there, that the mist did the rainbow, the colors of the rainbow. And one of the things we enjoyed most about that trip was Donald took us all to the top of a big building over there for dinner, and in the end he bought Carrie she was just a little girl, and he bought her a big old ice cream cherry jubilee, and it was in a big old cup with a stem on glass dish, and her eyes got big as saucers. Is this all for me? And that was a real treat for the whole family. We enjoyed it very much. And we went to Disney World a lot, and Donna Ann and Donna and Dylan and I went one year, and we took Ryan for his birthday one year, and we all stayed at one of the camps around. It wasn't in Disney World, but we had a lot of fun. And we went up to Tennessee one year, and we stopped at the Cherokee Indian Nation, and did a lot of camping up in there, and we had a lot of fun. And the kids had fun, and I don't know, it looks like they're having some kind of dance program here. Oh, and that's at Disney World, where we went to Disney World one year, and Donald went to the Hawaiian buffet, and they pulled him up on the stage, and he made quite a show for them, I tell you. And that's the swinging bridge that Kathy and her family and I went, and Donald went in the trailer. That's when we went to the Cherokee Nation, and we went through Rock City and across the swinging bridge and Lookout Mountain. We went in the Ruby Falls. And we also went in the cave and the Lost Sea, and we had a wonderful trip that year. And we just had a lot of good trips, and it's been a lot of fun with all of them. Things that we'll always enjoy for the rest of their lives. Now that's Ryan with his little alligator that we had gotten in one of the places we were at St. Augustine. They let him take a picture with the alligator, and that's a little chapel at one of the places in St. Augustine. And this is out at, I think that was when we went to Florida at Navarre Beach. And we had a lot of pictures over there. We stayed in a big house. They called it the Pink House. And the children just loved vacationing there. They had a big lookout on the top, on the third deck. And you could go out there at night, and it had the best sea breeze out there. And you could just look out over the Gulf and see the white waves coming in. And it was just a lovely place to go. And all the children enjoyed it. Our whole family stayed there. And Paul and Brian had two friends that came with us. But that's the Pink House, and we enjoyed it so much. And we all had a very good time. And then we started staying in condos. And we stay in where we'd have to rent about 3 condos, like 2 and 3 bedrooms, and they'd have kitchens and 2 baths in each one of them. And at least 2 or 3 bedrooms, and big living rooms and TVs in all of them, and kitchens and places to eat. But we'd always eat at where I was, because we'd take turns cooking, but we'd always eat in the same place. And they said that they enjoyed the condos. And then I felt like we needed a swimming pool, so I got some that they weren't as nice as the ones we had been staying in, but it had a swimming pool. But they all said they liked the one that had the big 3-bedroom condominiums with the little balcony and all, that was their favorite one. So they kind of gave up on the Pink House. The Pink House got destroyed in one of the tornadoes that went through there. And they kind of rebuilt it, but it was never the same. And I don't think they rented it out after that. And we all had a good time. The whole family would enjoy it, every one of us. We'd all get together and eat and play. And they had things that we could do after we got over there. We would go on the little jet ski and up in the parasail, and get on the boat, and the parasail would take them way up in the sky, and they could see out over everything. They had a real good time, just playing. We'd go out and eat. Sometimes we'd go out and eat. One night we went out and all had steak dinner, and the whole family went together. We had a very good time. But mostly it was just fun, just being together and sitting around and just relaxing and enjoying the beach and being together. And the kids had little boats and things that they would get in when they were little. Of course, they outgrew that eventually. They wanted to do big stuff like the jet skis and the parasailing, and so we've graduated from all of that now. But it was fun. It was always a lot of fun. And that's Eric and Ryan. I guess we were in one of the condos that year. But we always had a good time. There's Carrie fixing to go parasailing. That was one of the pictures that was in there, and so they said we could do that, and they all got together. I forgot what the name of the picture was, but we all laughed about us taking that picture. And then we were out on the balcony looking out over the coast, and this is when we went to Colorado. I went to Colorado with Nancy and her family, and that was one of the canyons. We rented a raft, and we went down the canyon, and there we are. And they had a little island there, or little sand places where you could get out and eat, and they made us a picnic lunch. And we just had a wonderful time on that trip. And Carrie, they had the horseback riding. We went on the camp outs and everything. And we just had a wonderful time. That's when they were doing the Cajun dancing. Yeah, the kids did the Cajun dancing on that trip. It was really fun. And they would jump in the water and cool off. It was so hot, you'd have to jump in the water, and the water was so cold. And we always stopped at the Big Texan. That was our place to stop, and we all got out and had a steak dinner. And that was always so much fun. And when Carrie was at 2M's, she wrote me a letter and told me that she was dedicating her last dance recital that I would be able to go to, and she was dedicating it to her grandma. And that made me feel real good. That was very special to me. And they always did like to dance, and it was very meaningful to me. And then we went to New York. When Carrie was a senior in high school, we had a trip to New York. And she was singing at Carnegie Hall. And we stayed with Kathy and Kenny had friends there. They lived right across the street from us until they moved to New York. And they got in contact with them, and they wanted us to stay with them. So we stayed over there a couple of nights, and then Kathy and Kenny stayed with them. And Donna Ann and I and Mr. and Miss Jenkins stayed in a hotel downtown. But we had a lot of fun. We went on a lot of different things over there. And we went on the boats and visited Twin Towers when they were still up. And it was just a beautiful thing. Statue of Liberty, and did everything. A wonderful trip. Well, that's Dolly and I on our vacation, and that was when we took a cruise out to the Virgin Islands, and they took a picture of me on a donkey. And this was in when we had gone to I think we were in Rock City when we took that picture. And this was when we went to Mount Vernon, and we had a real nice trip there. And that's some of the pictures we took. That's the bridge that George Washington would visit. He was a surveyor, and we went to his country, and that was a natural bridge. And we picked apples in St. Louis. We went to the Lost River, and we went to President Grant's old home in St. Louis. And then we went to the mountain, Stone Mountain in Georgia. That was a nice trip. And this was a restaurant in Florida when we were going down to the Florida Keys. And that was a beautiful restaurant. We had dinner there. And it was just unreal, so pretty. And this was Silver Springs. That's part of the restaurant. That was all outside. It looked like an old Greek restaurant or something, and Greek art. It was gorgeous. But we stopped and took pictures as we would go. We stopped in all the different places to go down to the Florida Keys, and that's the furthermost point in the continental USA in Key West. But going down there, we would stop at all the little islands. We were in Key West, and they had a lot of things for us to see. That we enjoyed Key West very much. And on another trip, we went to New York and Washington. We were there for cherry blossom time, and we took pictures, and we enjoyed the cherry blossoms. And we saw the Capitol and did a little touring around Washington. This is at Fundy Park. And this is over in Smoke Rise Resort in Michigan, and that's the bridge that goes across to Saint Marie. And this is the place that we stopped at, and then we stayed there a week. And that's in Canada when we first got over into Canada, and that we went to all the beautiful cathedrals over there. They were beautiful. And then we came back down through Wisconsin, and Mary Jean and David met us there, and they had little cherry blossom times and tulip blossom times, and just all kind of little things there. Dutch windmills, and it was just real nice. And then this was at Wyoming. We had gone through the park over in Wyoming, Yellowstone. It was beautiful. That was before all the fires and everything. As Tetons, it was gorgeous when we were there. And we always stopped at that campground, the Fairmont. They had hot springs there. It was just a beautiful place to stay. And that little trolley would take us up into where the silver mines used to be. And when we were going into Canada, we got into Glacier National Park. And we saw some beautiful things over at Glacier, mountain goats and all. It was so pretty up there. We went to Flatbed Lake, and that was beautiful. And we got into Canada, and we went across to Banff, and we went to saw a lot of glaciers and everything. It was so pretty. That was Radium National Park there, and that's where we camped there. That's before you get into Banff. And that's like one of the big hotels in around Banff. And then we went on to the Alaska, and this is in Alaska. And that's the little chipmunks they had over there, and that's some pictures we took after we left the mountain, the big mountain, and that's North Pole. They had a little place they called the North Pole. And this is a school bus that they took us on to go through the park, and that's where we stay at night. We'd pull in those little side parks, and after you go across those horrible highways, they were really bad. You'd have to stop, and they had a place that you could get your car washed. And this is back at the state park, and right there is when Donald was fishing for salmon in one of the rivers that came through there. And we stayed there a long time, several days. And that's down in Valdez where the pipeline was, and Donald went through and toured all of that. And they had the dog races there. And all of that's in Canada. That's beautiful waterfalls going into Valdez. And that's where I sat when Donald was doing all the fishing. That was my spot. It was cold. And that's a place in Canada where the railroads would go take the tourists through. And then we'd stop and tour. They had tourist viewing spots where we could watch the glaciers, and they would melt, and they were melting pretty fast. And then we went over southern Canada into Vancouver, and we crossed over into Victoria, and the beautiful, beautiful gardens. Bouchard Gardens was just gorgeous. And we toured the Bouchard Gardens in Victoria, and we had high tea at the Empress Hotel, and we just had a marvelous time. Now we're going into the Easter holidays. They always had a big Easter. We always fixed up Easter baskets and decorated them all. And one of the things that I always think about Easter, I think about Mary Jean and her Easter birthday cake. She always wanted an Easter birthday cake. And we always had a wonderful time fixing up for Easter. And when you went to Aunt Edith's and stayed at her house while they were fixing our floors, and we had Easter over there. I always made a big tray for Easter and put it on the table, and that was our family Easter tray. And we'd fix up Easter bunnies and Easter baskets and hide eggs out in the backyard, and always had something special for each of the children. I'd always find a little treat. I used to do an Easter egg with each of their names on it, and we always had a good time. They'd hunt for Easter eggs in the backyard, and they'd bring their Easter baskets with them, and there's Carrie with her little Easter egg. Probably had her name on it. So they always had that's Jeannie's Easter egg cake. They always had a real good time. And I always enjoyed it. They'd go to Mass and come by, and then they'd go out in the backyard, and the older ones would hide the eggs, and then they'd all run out and look for the eggs. We had a lot of fun with it, and I'd always buy the inflatable eggs and bunny rabbits and decorate everything. And then we'd hide them in hard places for some of the older ones, and we'd holler, we'd say, "Oh, you're getting hot, no, you're getting cold," and they'd look in all the hard places to try to find the Easter eggs. And sometimes we lost count, but most of the time we found them all. They were all proud of their Easter eggs. There's a lot of them. We had them all different colors, and I'd buy the little plastic ones and put chocolate goodies in them, and they'd open them up and take the jelly beans or the chocolate Hershey's or whatever out of them. We had Easter bunnies all over everywhere, and Easter eggs all over everything. And then we would all be so tired, and we'd just kind of sit around and rest, and the older ones would have the little ones, and just had a wonderful time. Everything was so colorful, always so colorful. So much fun. That's Adam. When Adam was a little boy. Easter is always a special time of the year. It's so joyful. Spring's busting out all over in all beautiful colors, and the flowers and all the dyed Easter eggs, and we just had a real good time just being there together and enjoying the weather and the Easter season. It was a glorious season, beautiful, and the kids would play games, do other things out in the backyard. That was fun. Make the little Easter tree, and they'd help me dye the Easter eggs sometimes. I think that's this year. That's my bunny I got this year. That's this year. This is the last Easter we had. We had crawfish boil. And we boiled crawfish out in the backyard. Mary Jean came from Iowa, and Donnie did the cooking. And Patrick helped him. That's Patrick with Donnie cooking the crawfish, and it was wonderful. We all sat and ate so many crawfish we couldn't eat anymore. And there's Lisa and Jeannie, and everybody was just pitching in and helping and making a happy Easter for every time. Paul and Joanne joined us. Wendy came from Atlanta. The whole family was here. We just had a real, real good time. It was a very special day for me. So we had a wonderful, wonderful Easter. That's Joseph, the Easter baby. I know he'll never forget our Easters, the one that he had with Grandma. I love all of you. Well, Halloween was always a special time for us because Kathy was born on October the 23rd. And every year she wanted to have her Halloween party, and everybody would come in costumes and they'd all dress up, and we had real big Halloween parties over here every year. And I'm telling you, some of them were real cute. We laughed and laughed at the little nanny and the balloon lady, and all of the different costumes were so cute. And Donna Ann was a little Indian, and a Pocahontas, I guess. And everybody just had a real good time dressing up and coming in their costumes. And we all had Jeannie was a witch one year, and they had a mummy on the table, and we always carved the pumpkins and did the pumpkins. And that was when Paul was a baby. He was, and that's when Wendy was a baby. They used to come over and show me their costumes when they were little. Wendy, Nancy would always bring them over here and show me their costumes. And they would always dress up and go trick-or-treating. And Donald would always take the kids out and go trick-or-treating with them, and I'd stay home and give out candy. And it was always fun time for the children. Harvest. We'd decorate the house with all the pumpkins and all the harvest stuff. It was a lot of fun. Mary Jean was a cat that year. And this is Captain Kenny. And one year, that's Bubba, he was a pirate. And they had that I'm a pirate or something, and Kenny, I was playing with Kenny that night. But we had fun. And I'd always get right in there with them. And sometimes we'd invite other people and they'd dress up too. Lisa's all dressed up in her costume. And that was at a yogi one year. They carved pumpkins and put them all out. And we had Donnie and his family come out. And they always come out. Lisa came out one year. And we all had a good time. That's pumpkins out at Yogi with Donnie. That was at the house. So there's always a lot of pumpkins and Halloween going on around here on Halloween. Always has been. It's been a special time. That's out at Yogi. We decorate all the trails out there, and it's really decorated big out there. It's something to see. You go out and you walk through the park, and everybody's trick-or-treating, and all the kids are dressed up, and all the trailers are all decorated. It's always a big party out there for Halloween. There's something else going on. We had a lot of Halloween around here too, but that's out at Yogi. And that was Bart one time giving out candy. He had a big old rat that was down in that pot, and it was artificial rat, but everybody said, "Is that rat real?" He was down in there digging up the candy. And that's the Bart. He was Bob the Builder or some kind of warrior that year. That's kind of him. When she dressed up one year for Christmas. That was at the house. We always had parties around here. This is Thanksgiving. We always took the furniture out of the living room and pulled our table out, and everybody came in and had sit-down dinner for Thanksgiving. And I'll put the turkey in the oven and carve the turkey. But we had turkey and all the trimmings. We had dressing and gravy, sweet potatoes, cranberries, pecan pie, pumpkin pie, mincemeat pie, snap beans and corn, everything you could think of. It was a real Thanksgiving dinner. We'd have iced tea, and some of them would like wine with their dinner. We'd always have plenty of desserts, 2 or 3 different types of desserts, and all the trimmings. Grandma Gipson always came over for dinner because I was born on Thanksgiving Day, and she'd join us for dinner on Thanksgiving. After dinner, we'd always have coffee, and
raise a family
We had a wonderful time.
of their own. They shared joy. They shared
Christmas was always a very special time for us. That's when we lived on South Maiden, and Kathy and Alan were children. But we never had a table set like we did for Thanksgiving. We'd always have a buffet and open our presents on Christmas Eve, and the children would go home and Santa Claus would come, and they would stay home on Christmas Day with their family. But on Christmas Eve, we always they always came over here after they went to church, and we'd have a big buffet and open our presents and put baby Jesus in the crib outside. Bubba would play Christmas music for us, and we'd sing and open presents, and we always enjoyed our buffet dinner and just all of our presents, and there would be a lot of presents under the tree because we draw names, and they always pick names, and there's a present for everybody, plus I had presents for them too. But I got to where I just give them a little underwear every year, and they'd always say, "Mama, don't forget the underwear." But I quit doing it because I couldn't keep up with the sizes. They had all changed so much. But I give them a gift certificate and a little present to open. But they pick names, and there's a lot of presents under the tree. And it's always been a very special time for us. Always happy time to be together and have Christmas Eve together, and it was always mystical. We'd think about Santa Claus. We could even hear him jiggling out in his reindeers outside in his sleigh. It was always a special time, and it was a very mystical time for us. But we knew the true meaning of Christmas, and we always had our crib and our little angel, and she was always waving her little wand, asking God to bless us and be with us on our Christmas night. And then we would go outside and put Jesus in the baby Jesus in his crib. We had an outside crib, and it was always a very special time. We'd sing Christmas carols. Bubba would play the guitar, and we'd sing some Christmas songs, maybe one or two, before we would come back in and open our presents.
Gifts we bring, to lay before the King.
I just enjoy watching the pictures and listening to the music and the expectation on all the children's faces.
So to honor him, when we come.
My 3 grandchildren, daughters. I have 4. Jennifer wasn't in that picture.
I am a poor boy too,
Christmas was always special to
I
Dawn.
have no gift to bring, that's fit to give a king, Shall I play for you?
Now that's Paul and Joseph. Paul is Joseph's godfather, and he always brings him a Christmas present.
Oh, Christmas, it's for the children, good girls, good little boys. Yeah, Christmas, It's for the children.
We had a
They're
different Christmas tree
making
every year. It
a
seemed
list of
like I
their
used to have it all white with angels and
Christmas,
crocheted angels and big white
it
bows
is a
and white balls.
birthday
And then I changed it and we had a red and white, red and all different colors. And we did that for several years, and then we put the white tree back up again. So every year it seemed like it would be a little bit different. The Christmas tree always had plenty of Christmas presents under it.
As Santa packs up his sleigh to thank Jesus on his birthday, born in a manger on Christmas Day. Oh, that first Christmas was so special that 3 wise men, they followed a star to a little town known as Bethlehem, bearing gifts to a babe born a king. So children always remember,
Beautiful time of the year. I
as
enjoyed it very
Santa
much.
packs up his
We all
sleigh
enjoyed it.
to thank
Something
Jesus
that was
on
very
his
special
birthday,
to all of us.
born in a manger.
We all had a very Merry Christmas. We felt very blessed. God had been good to all
For
of
the
us.
children,
Our whole family would be here, all the children and all the grandchildren.
boy,
It was just a very special time for
Christmas
us.
it's for the children. They're making a list of their favorite toys. And Christmas,
Bob
it
always
is a
played the guitar
birthday
for us.
oh,
And he wrote 2
long,
special
so
songs for
long
Christmas.
ago. Yeah,
They were
Christmas,
very special.
it is a
We
birthday.
played
Our
for us. We
Savior
played
was
Grandma's Feather
born
Bed,
on
too.
that first Christmas day. Oh,
Kids
baby
loved all their
Jesus
presents, and they always
was
loved what they
born
got. They
on
always
Christmas
enjoyed
Day.
their presents. They'd go home with their big old bags and loaded up their cars and going off and wait for Santa Claus to come. They knew that Christmas was special at Granny's, but it wasn't Santa Claus. We always put the baby Jesus in the crib, and Joseph has been doing it because he's the baby
Christmas
now.
is the season.
And it was always very special for him. He knew that that was something special
And old, long
for him to do,
for what's in
and he
store.
loved doing it.
It all begins soon after Thanksgiving.
Some of them would let them open one or two of one of their presents, and they could
open
play with the little
up
something
their doors.
under the tree. But
The present
they wouldn't open
that
all of their
warms
presents
my
except to see
heart
what they were.
most
But they
can't
couldn't
be
open the
bought
boxes and play with all of the
at
presents.
any
They'd put them
store.
in their paw, and the parents
Or
would
it's
take them home.
given with every
And the next morning,
sunrise,
Santa Claus would come.
and with bundles of joy galore.
They always got a lot of toys
Well,
for
I
Christmas.
am
Santa Claus has
one
always been good to
lucky
them.
fellow that you'll log
Miss Jeannie and her
right
family.
for me.
Jennifer dressed up like a little
The
doll.
one gift
Jennifer's
I
growing up here.
most
She's going to be a
treasure
little lady.
is my most precious family. 'Cause they are the jingle in my jingle bell. They are the sparkle round my Christmas tree. They grace the smile that lights up the Christmas angel. They bring the spirit of Christmas to
We always
me.
had a lot of presents because there were so many of us.
Well, I am one
They always had
lucky
special. Everybody
fellow.
would know a special thing that somebody would like, and they'd try to find something for them that would be
The
special for
one
them.
gift
It always was.
I most treasure,
So Merry Christmas,
my
everybody.
most precious family.
Well, I've had a wonderful life. There's Alan. Very special to me. That's a picture that Will took before he died. Really trouble with somebody in that one. But I enjoyed it. And that was when we were in London. I took that picture. And this Diane and I. I want to toast all of you. I had a wonderful life. And thanks for everything everybody's always done for me. Living my life over again, and it's been a wonderful life, and I thank God every day for the many blessings and gifts that He has given me. I love all of you very much.
Must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine, that's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long, a beautiful smile to hide the did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle. You are the wind beneath my wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart. my way.